Somewhere between the last laugh and the first police siren, everything shifted. The scent of burnt sugar clung to the curtains for days after. Someone had poured a bottle of rosé into the crème brûlée mix for fun and torched it too long, then forgot about it. I still find pink stains in the grout by the pantry. Glitter in the drain. Mascara smudges on the linen hand towels we got as a wedding gift. And outside, the dress. Delilah's white custom-beaded bachelorette dress is still hanging over the wrought iron fence like a defeated flag. Torn at the hem, red down the front like a warning. The wine never came out. She screamed when it happened. At me. At the baby bouncer she tripped over. At the universe, maybe. I remember the look on her face. A mix of indignation and disbelief, as if the laws of physics had betrayed her on purpose. As if my 2-month-old child had left the crib just to spite her. She called me a curse that night, whispered it with venom into her champagne glass as I walked by. You ruined everything. What she didn't know was, I had heard every word. She'd stumbled into the nursery like it was her stage, bottle of tequila in one hand, glitter all over her face, waving it around like a microphone. My son was asleep in the next room. And still, she didn't lower her voice. I mean, honestly, I don't even love the guy, she slurred, flopping onto the rocking chair like it was hers. But he's got, like, real money, like resort money. So I give him a baby, right? Trap him real good. And then when he gets boring, which he will, I just bounce. Like my brother. Ugh, men get so lame after 30. Her friends laughed. One of them took a selfie with the mobile spinning above the crib. The nursery wasn't even supposed to be open, but nothing was ever off limits to Delilah, not even my sleeping child. I stood in the hallway, fists clenched, while her voice crackled through the baby monitor like static soaked in venom. Cheers to sister-in-laws who let us crash their sad little lives, she squealed. Seriously, how do you even live out here? It smells like baby wipes and depression. By the time the police showed up, sirens slicing through the laughter, I already had my son in my arms trying to shield him from the chaos. He cried from the noise, from the smoke, from the shouting on the front lawn. I held him close and hummed something soft, something I didn't even know I remembered. The squad car lights lit the nursery walls like a strobe-lit crime scene, and through the monitor I heard her voice again, cracked, desperate, screeching to whoever would listen. Somebody help me! My reputation! But nobody moved. Not her friends. Not the neighbors. Not even my husband, Josh. Hi, I'm Rachel. Quick favor before we move on. Over 90% of people watching right now haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying this story, tap that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps this channel reach more amazing listeners like you. Already subscribed? You're the best. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to it. It didn't start with the party. It started with the word yes. Before the baby, I used to say yes to keep peace. Yes to family dinners I wasn't invited to help plan. Yes to showing up an hour early just to help set up. Yes to being called quiet, like it was an insult, a flaw they couldn't quite name. Josh never saw it, or maybe he did. Maybe he didn't want to. His sister had always been a little much, but harmless, he said. A party girl, yes, but sweet beneath the glitter. She adores you, he'd tell me, laughing. She just doesn't know how to show it. I remember the first time Delilah saw the house. It was the day we moved in. I was 38 weeks pregnant, ankles swollen, hands trembling with joy and exhaustion. She walked into the entrance area, wrinkled her nose, and said, "Oh, I thought it would be bigger." Josh had just left to grab sandwiches. I stood there, holding the keys in my hand, unsure whether to cry or laugh. She walked through the kitchen like a realtor, opened drawers, poked at the marble island, tapped the wine fridge like it was a toy. Then she turned to me and said, "So when's the housewarming?" She didn't say congratulations. She didn't ask how I was feeling. She didn't even look at the nursery door. But I said yes to the housewarming. I made the quiches, hung the banner, smiled through the conversation where she told a group of Josh's friends that I used to be pretty wild in college, right? Even though we didn't meet until our 30s. I told myself she'd grow out of it, that it was nerves or insecurity or some sibling dynamic I couldn't understand. Then came the baby, and everything sharpened. Josh went back to work 2 weeks after the birth. I told him I'd be fine. I wasn't. But I was also too proud to admit it. Delilah texted once, "Let me know if you need help. I'm super busy with bridal stuff, though." And that was it. Until 2 months later, when she showed up on our doorstep with a bottle of rosé and a manicured smile. "We need your house," she said like she was announcing a surprise engagement. I blinked. "For what?" She grinned. "Bachelorette weekend! It's gonna be iconic. Pool, music, little floaties with our names on them. You guys have the perfect setup, and it's free." My stomach dropped. "The baby." I started. "Ugh, we'll be chill, I swear. We'll just stay outside. It'll be like luxury meets sisterhood." Then she leaned in and whispered, "Please. You don't want me to beg. Your house is the only place that feels remotely classy." I asked Josh later what he thought. He shrugged. "It's one weekend." "But the baby." She promised she'd be careful. "And honestly," he said, wrapping his arms around me, "maybe it's good. You'll get some quiet. We'll lock the nursery. You deserve a break." Deserve. It was the first time he'd said that word in weeks. And so, I said yes, because I wanted him to see me again. Because I wanted to believe they'd treat our home with respect. Because sometimes when you're bone tired and aching, you say yes to things that don't even sound like choices. It started before the music, before the wine bottles clinked against glass patio tiles, before Delilah even arrived. The house felt tight that morning, like it knew. I'd spent the night rocking the baby through colic. My shirt was stained with formula and breast milk. My hair was still damp from the fastest shower of my life. I hadn't slept more than 40 minutes at a time in 2 weeks. But the fridge had been stocked. The guest towels folded, the floaties inflated and arranged around the pool like giant pastel donuts. It wasn't for them, not really. It was for me. A desperate, quiet attempt to be enough. To show I was more than spit up and yoga pants, that I could still be gracious, that I was still a good host, even if my bones ached like glass. Delilah and her entourage arrived an hour early. There were 6 of them, all glossed lips, bouncing curls, and designer weekend bags. They burst in like champagne foam, high-pitched laughter echoing down the hall, trailing the scent of expensive perfume and entitlement. I barely got a hello. One of the women, I never caught her name, dropped her Louis Vuitton on my reading chair and turned to me. "Oh, thank God. You must be the nanny," she said, adjusting her sunglasses. "Can you clean up the juice spill in the entryway? It's like super sticky." I stared at her. I looked down at the baby in my arms. His soft blue hat. The delicate curve of his cheek against my shoulder. "The what?" I asked. She gestured toward the entrance without even blinking. "It's okay, it happens. You're not in trouble, just mop it before someone slips, okay?" I should have said something, should have corrected her, but I didn't. I turned, walked to the kitchen, and began wiping down the same spotless counter I'd already cleaned 3 times that morning. Because sometimes silence feels easier than confrontation. Until it doesn't. By midday, the noise had built to something primal. Music pulsed through the walls. Laughter turned into shrieks. A bikini-clad woman did a cannonball off the pool's tanning shelf. In the kitchen, I found someone drinking straight from the milk bottle, the one I'd pumped at 3 a.m. They'd added Bailey's. "It's creamy," the girl giggled, wiping her mouth. "What is this, oat?" I didn't speak. I just walked upstairs, locked the nursery, and sat on the floor beside my son's crib. His breathing was soft, rhythmic, a tether holding me to sanity. Downstairs, someone broke a glass. Outside, Delilah laughed like the queen of a kingdom that didn't belong to her. And I wondered, not for the first time, if I had made a mistake, not just with the party, but with the marriage, with the silence, with every yes I'd ever said when what I really wanted was a door closed and locked. It was almost beautiful the way it broke. Late afternoon sunlight painted everything gold. The pool shimmered. The air smelled like sunscreen and seltzer, the kind of glow that tricks you into thinking the world is safe. Then came the scream. I heard it before I saw it. Sharp, high-pitched, dragging across the backyard like a ripped speaker. "Are you kidding me?" The crowd froze. Delilah stood at the sliding glass door, framed by the open kitchen behind her, her white bachelorette dress soaked in burgundy from the chest down. It looked like a wound. Oh my God, someone help! People rushed toward her. And then I heard it. "She left baby crap all over the place," Delilah shouted. "I tripped over that stupid bouncer thing. How is that even legal? There's red wine everywhere. This dress is custom. $10,000. She ruined it." And suddenly, all eyes turned to me. I was standing by the kitchen island holding my son in one arm, a burp cloth over my shoulder. I hadn't spoken in hours. No one saw me place the bottle of milk back in the fridge after finding a lipstick ring on the nipple. No one saw me sweep up the crushed crackers from under the bar stools. No one saw anything until now. I stepped forward, gently bounced my son once, and looked at Delilah. "You tripped over the bouncer?" "Yes!" she snapped. "Why the hell is it even in here?" I pointed to the corner of the living room. The bouncer sat where it always sat, a good 5 feet from where she was standing when the wine spilled. One of her friends muttered something. Another glanced at the floor. No trail, no toppled toy. Just a red handprint on the fridge from where Delilah had lunged for balance and missed. She was drunk. And lying. Still, she didn't stop. "You think this is funny? Do you even care how important this day is to me?" I blinked. "You're yelling at me, in my home." She scoffed. "This house is Josh's, let's be real." And there it was, the unraveling thread. Before anyone could speak, I turned to the baby monitor on the counter, hit playback, audio, 2:13 p.m. Delilah's voice, giggling. "If he wants a baby, I'll give him one, then I'm out. You think I'm marrying Mr. Personality for love?" Laughter. "Then, once he tries to make me a stay-at-home wife, I'll flip the script, take half and vanish." Silence fell like fog. Delilah lunged for the monitor. I picked it up calmly and slid it into my back pocket. "Oh, and by the way," I said, reaching for my phone, "I just sent that clip to your fiancé Lucas, and his parents." "What?" I nodded. "They seemed to think you were sweet, modest, traditional, a classy girl." Her face drained. "And now," I added, soft as velvet, "they know who they're actually marrying into." She stepped back like I'd struck her. People started whispering. One girl set her drink down and muttered, "I need to call an Uber." Delilah turned to Josh, who'd just stepped inside, eyes wide. "She's insane. She's ruining my life." Josh looked at me, then at the monitor in my hand. He said nothing. Outside, a phone rang, then another. Inside, Delilah's phone buzzed once, twice, then exploded in notifications. I watched her read the message. Her mouth fell open. And finally, beautifully, she dropped her wine-soaked veil to the tile floor. It only took 8 minutes. 8 minutes between the message I sent and the collapse of Delilah's golden life. I sat down on the arm of the couch, nursing my son under a muslin cloth, as if the living room weren't full of half-dressed women and the air didn't buzz with incoming shame. Her phone kept buzzing. Then it stopped. Rang. The name on the screen, Lucas. Delilah froze. She walked toward the kitchen like a girl stepping into traffic. Everyone watched. No one breathed. She answered, put him on speaker. "Lucas, babe, I can explain." His voice cold and clear. "My parents are canceling the wedding." The sentence landed like a piano through a ceiling. "What?" "It was a joke. I was tipsy." "They just wired a stop payment to the venue. The deposit's gone, but they'd rather lose 200 grand than our family name." The room was dead still. "And me?" he added, voice cracking. "I believed you. I loved you. Lucas, don't come to the house. Your stuff will be outside." The call ended. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sacred. One of the bridesmaids backed toward the door, mumbling, "I didn't know it was like all that." Another followed her out, her heels echoing like punctuation. I looked at Delilah. She wasn't crying. Not yet. Her face was locked in place, frozen between denial and collapse. Her mascara smudged from the wine, her custom dress clinging to her like a ruined corsage. Her body trembling with the realization that this wasn't just embarrassing. It was permanent. It was the kind of fall you don't come back from with an apology post. A voice behind me said, "It's already online." I turned. One of the girls had pulled up the clip. Audio from the baby monitor synced with images from the pool, her confession playing on TikTok like a perfect little scandal. The caption read, "Bride admits she's marrying for money and plans to ditch husband once he wants kid. Wedding cancelled." Over 20,000 likes in 6 minutes. Delilah stumbled into a chair. She looked small now, like a girl who finally ran out of mirrors. I stood, walked to the stereo, and turned the music off. Then I spoke, quietly, clearly. "This was your idea. You demanded space in a house that wasn't yours. You disrespected my home, my son, me." She opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. "I was going to let it go," I said. "The milk, the nanny comment, the mess. I was going to just clean it all up. But you made it public." I let that sit. "You spilled wine, and then you spilled the truth. And then, because I am a mother now and mothers don't waste time on noise, I picked up my baby, walked upstairs, and left her sitting in the wreckage she built. Didn't see Josh for hours. After I went upstairs, I laid my son in his bassinet and changed out of my milk-stained top into something clean. Software whole. The house was strangely still by then. No more splashes, no more shrieks. Just the low hum of the fridge, the occasional creak of a settling house, and the soft exhale of my child's breathing. At dusk, I came downstairs. The wine had been scrubbed from the floors, but the scent lingered. The pool lights were off. Abandoned sandals and shattered glass lay in clusters near the patio door like confetti from a funeral. Josh sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, holding Delilah's shattered wine glass in one hand, turning it, studying the jagged lip. He didn't look up when I entered. "She told me I owed her," he said. "For all those years our parents spoiled her, said she was just balancing the scales." I said nothing. She begged me not to cancel the party, said it was her one dream weekend, that she'd behave. He finally looked up. "I didn't protect you. Or him." He nodded toward the baby monitor. "And now I can't even look at my sister." I sat across from him, not beside, across. "You saw all of it?" I asked. He nodded again. The milk bottle, the audio, the insults. I heard it all. I didn't ask if he had regrets. I didn't need to. Instead, I asked what mattered. "What now?" He swallowed. "I told her she's not welcome here again. My parents, too. They want to talk to you. Apologize." "I'm not interested in apologies," I said, "only action." He nodded slowly. I leaned forward. "This is our son's home. I said. He won't grow up around people who mock his mother or poison his space. If that's something you can't commit to. I can, he cut in. I will. Another beat of silence. I was wrong, he said, and I need to earn your trust again. His voice cracked. I didn't offer a warm reply, or a quick fix. Instead, I stood and walked toward the kitchen. Opened the drawer where we kept the labels and printed photos. I pulled out a tiny card, the one Delilah had written on during my baby shower, the one where she'd scribbled, "Try not to make motherhood your whole personality." I turned it over, wrote something new. My boundaries are not optional. I slid it across the counter to Josh and walked away. Because some truths don't need screaming, they need honoring. 2 months later, I found a note tucked inside my son's memory box. Not one I had written. It was from Josh's mother, handwritten, on linen paper. I was wrong about you, about what strength looks like. I used to think it was loud, assertive, glamorous. But then I watched my daughter fall apart in a house she didn't build. And I watched you hold yours together, quietly, completely. For the first time, I see the difference. Thank you for protecting my grandson. I didn't cry. I folded the note, slid it behind his hospital bracelet, and replaced the lid. Some legacies don't come from blood. They come from what we choose to protect, from what we refuse to let break us. I still live in this house. Still wake to the sound of birds and bottles warming and the tiny rustle of a new life breathing beside me. Delilah never reached out again. Her wedding dress was posted online and auctioned off. The scandal followed her to a different state. Lucas is dating someone new, someone who volunteers at the NICU. Josh and I are still learning each other again. Some mornings we succeed, some we don't. But the music is gone, and the peace that filled the silence, that stayed.